fanning didn't work and you're still a little too hot, try this. How many of you can remember a time in your life when you were hot and you were sweaty and you were happy about it? See, it feels so much better already, doesn't it? Now, how many of you understand what are the two ways to change your state? Fastest way to change your state is a radical change in your what? Say it out loud. In your what? Physiology, which means your body, or a radical change in what you are focusing on. 3 decisions we make every moment. What are we going to focus on? What does it mean? And what am I going to? How fast can you change what you're focusing on or what it means to you, what you're going to do? How fast? That means in a heartbeat you can change your life, but you won't unless you first change your state. And you can do that. How fast? How fast? In fact, what you want to do is train yourself to go like a car. A great race car goes 0 to 60 in 3-4 seconds. A crappy car takes 10 or 15 seconds. Same thing is true of a person. A person who takes forever to change their state, they don't have much of a life. Somebody change their state that fast, boom! And all it is a habit of directly, powerfully using your body and your focus. That's all it takes. Now, let's see how fast you can change your state. What I'm going to do is try something. I will, at some point you may hear the sound like a train coming by, a train whistle. And whenever you hear that sound, your goal is, doesn't matter if you're tired, exhausted, you don't know what to do, you're tired, you don't feel like it, you instantly drop your stuff and you're going to literally go up and celebrate like crazy. And at the end of that celebration, I want you to train yourself to do something else. I want you to laugh all the way back into your chair for no good reason. Now you say, I can't laugh for no reason. Then fake it. If you fake it long enough, you'll actually start to laugh. Because as you go into that physiology, it'll happen. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, one reason is, one of my sons, for example, my second youngest boy, his name is Josh. And when Josh was a little boy, I'll never forget, he used to be kind of sad and tired all the time. And I'd say, Josh, look at your life. And I began to look at his friends. And they were all sad and tired all the time. One day, he came home with a new friend. And this little friend was an interesting guy. Have you ever noticed that some people, no matter what happens, they find a way to be unhappy? How many know somebody who's always got a problem? And if they don't have one, they find one. How many know somebody like this? Say, I. And have you ever met somebody that's not really funny, but they think they are? And they crack themselves up? And they laugh so hard at their own jokes, you find yourself laughing too? Who's ever dealt with somebody like this? Knows what I'm talking about? Say, I. Well, this little boy was not funny, but he thought he was. And he was cracking up at his own jokes all the time. And his laughter was so infectious, you laughed too. It wasn't fake, it was real. And so I said to Josh, hang on to that friend. Spend as much time as you can with that friend. Because I want to tell you something. You want to change your life? One way to change your life is change your state. Second way, most powerful way, change who you spend time with. Who you spend time with is who you become. Because if you care for somebody, if you are really an outgoing, happy person and they're always sad, after a while you don't want to be so happy because it doesn't feel good. You know, they're like, well, you're easy for you. Who here has ever dropped your own happiness so you didn't offend someone else? How many have ever done this before? Raise your hand. Say, I. But by being less happy, do you make them better? Do you make them stronger? Do you make them happier? No. But that's what we tend to do. So picking who you're going to spend time with is a critical component of what makes life work. And so with Josh, it was interesting. He spent the next 3 or 4 years, they became best friends. And to this day, my son is one of the funniest people I know, even when he's not. Because he developed that habit. Emotions are a habit because emotion comes from motion. You can change your state. If you change who you spend time with, that alone starts to change your state. 2 of the most important decisions of life. What's the way I'm going to put myself in state? Who am I going to spend time with? Those are side by side. But you also got to just train yourself that you can change that state in a heartbeat instantaneously and go into a strong state. Anytime. Now, here's the interesting thing. If all we've got to do to change our lives is make better decisions, focus on things that move us forward instead of back, give things a meaning that empowers us instead of disempowers us, get ourselves to do the things we've been talking about. And if what affects that is just putting ourselves in state, and all we got to do to change our state is make a radical change in our what? Oh, come on. In our what? In our what? Physiology, or in our focus. If it's that easy, spend time with the right people. Then why don't most people? Because see, remember I told you before, how to do something is 20%. 80% is your psychology, which is a fancy word for really your mindset or your standards. So I want to give you real quickly here to finish up 5 keys to succeeding at anything at the highest level. And these 5 keys, to me, are really basic. In fact, when I tell you the first key, some of you are going to go, well, thanks a lot. I drove or flew all this way so you could tell me this simple idea. I could tell you something really sexy, really playful, really interesting, but I'd rather tell you the truth. And if you want to change your life in any area, you want to change your body, you want to change your career, you want to change your money, you want to change your relationships, you want to be closer to your kids, you want to make any shift in your life, the first key is always the same. And here's what it is. Write it down. Raise your standards. You know, raise your standards. How basic can this guy get? How dumb? Raise my standards. But it's the only thing that creates a lasting change, isn't it true? Now, when you use the word like raise your standards, it sounds so trivial. But let me maybe word it for you in a different way, and maybe it'll make more sense. If you want to change your life forever, when I say raise your standards, what I really mean is this. You've got to turn your shoulds into musts. Everyone in the world has a list of shoulds. I should follow through. I should, spend more time at work. I should make more calls. I should be nicer to my wife or husband or my children. I should lose some weight. I should go on a diet. I should. Who here has a list of shoulds? Things you know you should do. Raise your hand if you got it. Say I. Now, when you don't do your shoulds, what happens? You get upset with yourself. In fact, I call it you should all over yourself. And when you should all over yourself, it doesn't make anything better, right? What you're doing is when people actually make a change that lasts, what they do is the things that used to be a should suddenly become a must. And it's not an intellectual must, it's in your body. Human beings always get what they have to have. I'll say that again. Human beings always get what they have to have. The problem is some people have to survive and some people have to succeed. If it's a must for you, you find the way. Who here in this room had an area of your life where you kept talking about making a change and you wanted to make the change and you were committed to making the change, but you didn't do it again and again and again? Who's done this before in your life? Let me see your hands. Raise your hand. Say I. How many have had an area where you said you were going to change, didn't do it, said you're going to change, didn't do it, over and over again, and finally one day something happened, and you said no more, not another day, not another hour, this is done. I am out of this relationship, or I am never smoking again, or I will never follow through like this again, and you changed it completely and never went back. Who's made a change like this before? Say I. That was a moment of must, not should. That moment you changed, you raised your standard. You went, this is no longer acceptable to me. I'll give you an example. How many of you in this room today are earning much more than you used to earn in terms of your income? How many are earning much more than, say, 10 years ago? Let me see a show of hands. Much more. Very nice. And question, if I said to you, you're going to have to go back to what you earned 10 years ago, would you accept that, yes or no? No way. Most of you. Some of you, yes, because you were better off 10 years ago, but most of you, no. Right? You realize, no way. But 10 years ago, you would have accepted it. What's the only difference between 10 years ago and now? Your standards. Now you expect more for your life, don't you? And interestingly enough, we always get what we absolutely must have. Our standard. I'll give you an example. Everyone in this room right now is earning what you must earn, not a dime more. You know, Tony, you don't understand. In my job, I can only earn so much. Nope, wrong. If you needed more money and your mother or your father or somebody was really in trouble and you loved them completely and it was a must for you to help them, how many would find a way to take care of your mother or father, whoever it was, even if you didn't have the money? How many would find the way? Say I. Why? Because it's a must. Doesn't matter you don't have the money. Doesn't matter they don't pay you enough for the work. You would find the way.